Hey guys, and welcome back to the INSITE channel. Today we have toh1o in the Crosshair, a coach who has competed all around the world, coaching in many different regions, has now found his home with NIP Impact. Before we get started, how are you doing today? I know you've just come back from a boot camp with the NIP Impact squad. How's everything going?
Thank you for having me. It was like a long waiting to make this happen. Yeah, I landed yesterday night, like 7 p.m. from the boot camp. Pretty good boot camp. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of content for NIP. We had a lot of kind of good and bad practice sometimes, But we have a really good and, in my opinion, really positive boot camp with the people behind us. We're gonna get probably good news. One more guy, one more perspective, one more POV helping the whole CS
Mm.
part in NIP, which is really good, experienced people. But yeah, it was really positive, and I'm happy that we make it like few days, 2 days before the start of the season.
Yeah, it actually feels like all of that has is like poet timing. But before we get more into the like that side of your career right now, I just want to start looking at some of your earlier stuff and just looking at some of your context. Because as I said, you actually have like a really extensive resume in like loads of different teams in loads of different like regions and scenes. So just starting from the very beginning, you entered coaching in 2017, and what I found interesting while just looking at that on paper is that a lot of people end up coaching because they're like an ex-pro or something like that, but you jumped straight into coaching. What attracts you to this position?
I mean, like mostly because of my background. For example, 1.6. I started like maybe with StarCraft 2 and stuff. I was like more into the study things, instead of playing because
Yeah,
like back then in Bulgaria it wasn't that much. Like there was established few people to make actually living and getting paid and to play serious and stuff like that just because of the region, right? And then
yeah,
I need to find something where I can, like can grow in that specific esports scene and that specific part. So I wanted to find the right position for myself, and I actually like the way, like be a kind of nerd-ish to look for something good, to
yeah.
watch a lot of demos, watch a lot of matches. I was like, okay, I start liking it, and then how I jumped with the coaching, uh, like analyst looking for more of the games, matches, and stuff like that. And I think that's how I was like, okay, I need to go into coaching, not being a player. I think I have a different perspective. My sports background, I can help not only structure, not only like those kind of part of the game, but most like maybe mental part of the game.
Yeah.
Talk with people. It's really good to learn how you can talk with people, with your teammates. And I think was like, okay, I think that's what it's gonna fit more for
Mhm.
my perspective, for my character.
Yeah, that actually, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think you touched on a little bit part there of the Bulgarian scenes. I think the Bulgarian scene has come a long, long way since 2017. So just looking at when you first were like your kind of first outing with the Outlaws, which basically just became Windingo, what were some of the issues you may have faced while you were on this team? And was a big part of that just the issue of like a lack of up and coming players from your scene as well?
I mean, there wasn't some sort of issues in specific, but like as a Bulgarian, sometimes, uh, like you, again, because you speak the same language,
Hmm.
you can get to know the person way different than if it's like for example, international people, because
Yeah.
like other people, they cannot be that much open at the beginning, but with the Bulgarians, us, like in the Bulgarians, whenever you want to make a fully Bulgarian roster, people is like going super open, to each other.
Okay.
And sometimes you cannot like all of them, but let's, like someone is going to be a bit more like soft, someone is going to be a bit more, strong voices, like different charisma and stuff like that. And I don't know if there is a problem, but like maybe at the beginning, because to get to know each other, maybe that was a bit more rough start, but I think we did good job. But there was a lot of like challenging to keep some of the players. For example, Sir, he
Okay.
getting approached with energy back then,
Yeah.
and even I told him like I wish and I hope and hope you will to go there. Like I wish you the best that you can just go there and play there. That's perfect for you. Like you're so dedicated, you want to work. Same with Rainwaker back then with Fate after that. Like those guys are really dedicated. Like for example, Rainwaker, he likes to work. Like he's that kind of a person that can receive the constructive criticism, be like, okay, I need to work on this. Next day, he was trying to show, okay, I wanted to improve in this. And yeah,
Mm.
Outlaws, like there was like challenges and stuff, but like I managed to overcome all of like my
Okay.
first team, first Bulgarian speaking team. I managed to overcome all of the challenges.
Yeah. So okay. So you mentioned some of those challenges there. What were potentially some of those challenges that because you were in those teams for a long time? How did you, as an individual, basically improve during all these periods?
I mean, like maybe some of them was a bit like how to say it, like close characters that don't like to receive any feedbacks. You know,
Okay.
those type of stuff. They see their game on their POV, on not on yours, like your POV, what you want from them, how to play. You know, they see their own POV, and I think that was one of the issues. So, but it's normal. Like for Bulgarian scenes, everyone knows for himself how he need to play the CS, but and he knows how he needs to manage his own time after we finish the prac day. Should I watch demo? Some of them don't like to watch demo. They just want to join the server, shoot, and that's it. In my opinion, this was the one of the problems that sometimes of the people was being too much lazy. I can say I don't want to work on their individual performance, watching demos, their POV, learning the mistakes, improving the mistakes. I think that was one of the challenges back then.
Yeah, and I know even though you might not be like directly in the Bulgarian scene now, you've kind of mentioned that especially when you joined, there may have not been like as much money and that type of stuff. How do you see the Bulgarian scene has progressed since like that period to now where it is now?
I mean, it like kind of developed a bit more with a different team after that skate 500, and then people are going to the big teams, making our scene more well known. You know, people to speak about, for example, Poison, for example, Cirque. You know, those kind of guys that makes our representing. You know, the
Yeah.
scene. I think that was the good times. You know, now we have like up and downs, up and downs. Now people, for example, 500 try to keep the our scene alive to be seen from other people. You know, they're doing a good job. There was like few other teams. Now it's I don't know too much, like mostly like mix the things up. You know, like not something official. But yeah, I think it went like a up and down, up and down, up and
Yeah.
down. Because in my opinion, people don't like each other too much, or maybe, and they cannot stick too much together.
Yeah.
And one of them probably they like, okay, why should we need a coach? We understand everything. We know how to play the game. We don't need a coach. But actually, they have the problems not related to the game, but things that it's outside the game. But they cannot see it because coach have a different perspective. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
that's why right now for me is kind of back then it was like a different kind of problems they have, not about how they play the game, not about how they approach the game, but like outside how they talk to each
Mm.
other, inside outside the game. That's really good. But I think so far so good. I think 500 try to keep that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they
And
and they have a Bulgarian coach. Like
mm,
there is there is no other coaches. It's like me and the 500 code. There is no anyone else. That's only me and him that is keeping and being competitive. There is no one else because Punisher retired. He went. He stopped being coach. He's not even in the scene anymore. He's doing some other things. And from that point, it was me and the 500 coach. Like there is no one else. Like me and him are doing the job on the competitive CS. Nobody else.
that is very interesting, actually. So, and I think it's something I want to come back to as well later on. But so you moved away from Bulgarian CS by large in 2020, and you joined like Smash, which obviously had
Yeah,
Bulgarian players in it, but it was by large more of an international squad. Like Fates was in
yeah.
it and stuff like that. What was the reason to kind of like actively leave the scene, especially because there may have not been actually like many coaches, like you were saying. 500 have the only Bulgarian coach, but Grashog would have been playing back then. So it's
Yeah.
still like maybe still then just you and Punisher. What was the reason to maybe leave your regional scene and start looking internationally?
I think I left it because of the consistently so many dramas inside outside
Yeah.
the scene. And I get enough. I totally was like, okay, I don't want to be part of this. because it's not healthy for me. And I didn't receive any positive feedback and stuff when I was getting banned. People was
Mm.
like, just I don't want to take part of this because maybe it's gonna make a bad impression for myself, which they
Yeah.
didn't even ask me. Like there was like maybe probably only Punisher and a few others that kind of spoke about it. Like, okay, what's your status? How are you feeling and stuff like that? But nobody else, nobody even asked me like how you feel. And when actually I won the appeal, people start asking me like, are you gonna join any team? Do you have any offers and stuff like that? And I think Nexus back then they was waiting for me, or I didn't remember how it was with the band. They was actually letting me be a coach with them, with those
Yeah.
guys, and I appreciate that, but like no one else, because the other team was like, yeah, we cannot because you're still in the peer in that process. We cannot make it official. You cannot sign a contract. Maybe you can just work behind the closed doors as an analyst, like coach only on the practice, not on official, nothing. I wasn't allowed back then, and I was like, I don't want to make you any problems. I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be. I'm just gonna be like backseat, outside of the picture, and just helping you guys on the practice, and that's it. No officials, nothing. And yeah, that's why I kind of left it, because it opens my eyes, who is supporting, who
Mm.
not. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be part of this right now. I don't even think about this. I have this team, but back then I didn't. I was like, okay, that's enough. I think that's enough to
Yeah.
see what I wanted to see.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it was like you were kind of like oh yeah, I said like opened your eyes a little bit, and you were like, okay, right, time to move on.
Yes.
And I don't want to touch too much on it because this is not what this interview is about. But I
Yeah.
feel like it is good to talk about the ban a little bit, and just hearing your perspective of it a little bit, because obviously we hear a lot from ESIC, but in a lot of times we actually don't hear from the actual coaches themselves and how it may have affected. And just starting off there's been a lot, there's obviously loads of criticism continuously about how it's dealt, about how it was handled. What was your general experience? And you can go in as much depth or what as you want about like this whole ordeal and process.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I was getting surprised, caught off guard about
Mm.
even about my ban, because I wasn't abusing it. It happens without even I know about it, because it was on the boot camp. I present them everything, hotels, booking, rent a car, everything. When it happens on the same day, I wasn't part of some of the coaches that clearly abused. They admitted it. That's why they get the time reduced. That's why I was only one who left, mostly from the entire period, fighting to get the right time, fighting to get the answer from ESIC when it's going to be that appeal. Actually, it happens after 8 months. From the 10th month, everyone knows. And that was the biggest challenge for me, to keep kind of a hot connection between me and ESIC. They didn't wasn't that much active with responding the emails. Maybe after the 6 month, maybe after one of the interview went out from Jake Lucy or Mira back then. I think that was the only two guys that make it the whole thing publicly well known about the whole stuff. And then actually, maybe from that point, I'm not sure how it was. Maybe from that point, it was starting a bit more active conversation on emails between me and ESIC, to make the whole appeal stuff be prepared, because there was like few points that I need to fill. I need to be ready with some paperwork before I went to the appeal, some taxes and stuff like that. And then to the appeal. But yeah, the challenges was like those 8 months without being allowed to work. I didn't even work. I didn't even join any TeamSpeak. I didn't even join official matches on the TeamSpeak, because you shouldn't be presented. I didn't even travel with any teams. I refused so many offers. They asked me, yeah, you can be part of it without a contract. Maybe you can just help us see your POV. Not gonna get paid because you're under the ban. And that was really a rough time, because you need to work, you need to live with your savings.
Mm.
I live by my own. You need to pay bills, but at the meantime, you're waiting 8 months. It's like a jail, like you're still in the jail in the cell, and just waiting for the right time. Wake up.
Mm.
I always like wake up, check my phone, browse through the emails. Okay, no is sick. That's it. And yeah,
Yeah, that like honestly, that sounds like it's a position that a lot of people can't even like. It's such a hard thing that like I wouldn't even be able to relate to how hard that would have been. And just looking at that, you like you have come through the other side, like you have progressed now to a very good position. How were you able to basically like bounce back and just continuously like push forward? Like you just kept on grinding. Like how were you able to mentally do that?
I mean, probably because I'm like a sports background. I
Mm,
used to try to train a lot of sports, like for example, swimming, basketball, tennis, and then I did like combat sambo, MMA a bit more, those fighting
oh,
sports,
really?
gym, and I have brother who is supporting me, family and stuff like that. And that was like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give up. That like life is giving you challenges to overcome, and actually life is giving the hard challenges for the people who can overcome, and weak challenges for the people who cannot overcome. That's why they're sending a weak challenges, because they know, okay, this guy's gonna struggle. Let's give him a bit more easy so he can overcome, bounce back. But for the strong
Okay.
mentality people, they give them a hard challenges so they know that they're gonna overcome. And that's what I was like. I'm not gonna give up. I spent 10 years doing that job. I'm not guilty. I'm gonna prove it. There is no way I abuse. I didn't like, even on the sports line. I'm like, don't abuse any drugs or any steroids, or I'm not even drinking, not even smoking and stuff like that. I was like, no way I'm gonna left it like this and just ruin my the whole career. I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna fight until it's over. Until they say you're not guilty. I make them to say that you're not guilty, and that's, for me, that's the biggest win in my career, the biggest win in my life.
That's really good to hear. And like, would you say it's fair to say like you almost came back stronger than before?
Yes, I did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove everyone that I'm not guilty. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then so continuing with like your career then, you stayed in Europe for a little bit on Nexus. You've already spoken like highly about them. Even though you may have not found like loads of success with this squad, do you find like those like little bit experience when you were playing with these like different styles of players is now the reason why you're like such a good coach and how and the reason why you can bring all this experience over to your team now?
I mean, in Nexus, from what I remember, it was like only me speaking English and they speaking the whole Romanian.
I was thinking that as well, yeah, because they are
Yeah.
Romanian 5.
Yeah, there was like fully Romanian speaking all the time, except when I talk on pauses, when I speak on the theory. And that's it. And outside the game.
Okay.
That's it. And if they, of course, if BTN had something to ask me, other guys, then we speak on English. But mostly there was like fully Romanian speaking roster.
Okay. Is so like because it's almost like it's similar to like what Devil Walk does now. Like he's in a very like he doesn't speak Albanian. So
Yeah.
like should like did you find it possible to be in a team like that?
Yes. Like, I think mostly is up to the players how open they are.
Okay.
If they hide something from you, you're definitely gonna understand. If they hide any kind of mistakes or misspell or miscommunication or
Mm.
something else, you'll be like, okay, boys, we don't want to talk about this. You probably speak on your language. You're trying to hide it from me. But like, I think even though like for I don't know how long, I didn't remember how long I stayed from them, but maybe at the end or like in the middle, after a few months, I already start understanding the Romanian. And there was like, and I told them like, okay, I know what mistakes. When you have any mistakes, I know how you speak about the mistakes, and I'm writing
Yeah.
down a book and be like, this round you talk about this, something happened, explain what happened. It was like, oh yeah, Anton, we thought like you're gonna miss it, or something. But I didn't have any problems with them. It was like a cool experience,
Okay.
a different scene, way different scene, totally different than the Bulgarian, because there was like
Yeah.
they had their own problems in the scene, their own dramas in the scene between players, which I didn't even know about this. That's
Yeah.
when you join on a different. The same with Strife, it's NA team. The same with Nexus. They have their own story. They have their own background with the scene. It was good for me to learn, to get the experience. I think that's helps me a lot.
Yeah, and like as you was mentioning Strife there, obviously you went to play with you were there like in 2022 at the beginning for a couple months with Fate, who you'd also played on Smash with. Love Chris. And what were the actual reasons for you going over? Because like that is a massive change. Like you aren't just going to a different team in Europe. You are, and I would assume going over to NA. And so like, what was the whole reason behind that? And what were your expectations when you were joining a team like Strife that weren't necessarily even like the better teams in NA?
Uh, like before that, with Smash, I actually created the team, the whole team.
Oh, did you?
Yes, yeah, because the Smash management contact me, and they was like, okay, you can pick and choose players. Maybe you can just start making a list. You start working on this.
Yeah.
First thing I was like, okay, I need to call Bubble. I called Bubble. Okay, I see. I have an idea. I've get in contact with Smash. I need to create a team. I want you to work with me. Then we can just make something happen. Back then, and then I started making an approach with a different player, Hachis, and other. We had up and downs in the team, of course, internal issues. Then with some of the guys, a few more changes, a few more tryouts, and I think after Smash, we did a good job actually with Smash.
Okay.
We had a good run, in my opinion. We had a good vibes. We had a good results. Then we have changes a bit with the IGOs inside Discord Open Bubble and stuff like that. We change a bit more stuff inside of the team, but we had a good run with Smash. I was like pretty kind of happy-ish. I can say the vibes was like okay, not bad because
Hmm.
it was kind of my first international team mixed with the nationalities and stuff. From Sweden, Bulgaria, France,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it was okay in my opinion. And then I think I get a pause. Then I've getting contact to with Strife. I've getting approach with Strife with the management because of their IGO, because of Bobby stamina.
Yeah.
Wanted to they wanted to get some European perspective, European
Hmm.
people. Then they approached me and Fates. They told me like we're gonna get you and Fates. Fates is gonna be coming to NA. You're gonna play with from home. And I had a few talks with Bobby. Pretty like I can say he's really smart IGO. Like he understands the game so deep, and even me, I learn a lot of stuff from him for the game, for the approach. He's I can say like he's a really good IGO from my opinion in NA, who kind of read a good the game.
Yeah.
Like I really like to work. Yeah, we have of course like any other teams. Sometimes we had a different vision, from the game and stuff like that, but that's totally okay. I always was open, to find the middle ground. And then we worked with Strife. We qualified for the Pro League
Yeah.
with the conference in Jönköping, but we wasn't prepared. I think, in my opinion, we was prepared kinda, but few things happened there that didn't like let us move through the Pro League.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had
Yeah,
like it's interesting that you have like all these different yeah, you just have all these different stages.
yeah.
So what were the differences? Like don't need to touch on this too much, but like just from your perspective, obviously you have that EU experience. What are some of the differences you actually saw when you were in NA, like in comparison of just the Counter-Strike and like the mentality to the game?
I I cannot say the difference, but I can say maybe the difference for the practices. I can say that the biggest issues, the biggest you can see right now, people talk about this quite often. The biggest
Hmm.
problem is in NA is about how they manage to find the practices.
Okay. Was
Yeah,
that still a problem then? Because I feel like that's a problem that's arisen a little bit more recently from my perspective.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the biggest issues is like finding a good prox with a
Yeah.
team that actually can be uh, putting you pressure so you can try your stuff.
Yeah.
That was the
Okay.
biggest challenge for me that we didn't have a good procs. We had few procs, people didn't play the way how we should play, a bit more disrespectful, a bit more childish. I can say I'm not gonna say names and stuff. That in that was my first impression, but like yo, like what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Like why those guys are behaving like this? But I don't know now if they improve. But I think there's a different now team, more teams kind of popping. Maybe
Hmm.
the CS2 is gonna change the things there. Maybe some new guys
Hmm.
fully ready. people fully prepared, people more dedicated, taking all of those stuff seriously. I think that's maybe CS2 is gonna be like a light in the tunnel that is gonna make the things more
Yeah.
serious, I think.
Oh, hopefully, anyways, because like we never want to see a region do badly. But then, so after that, you came back to Europe, and you had a short stint with Genk, the Belgium team.
Yeah, yeah.
Throughout your whole history, there's a lot of times where I look at that and I just go, how did you end up there? Like, it's just like you go from like all the different regions, and I'm like, with Genk, was that always going to be a long term project? And I feel like with that team, it almost felt like you were maybe taking like a step back almost because they are like not at the caliber that you would have been coaching at before. So, like, what was kind of the expectations when you do play in a team like that were like contesting for, if anything, like the regional best, not even necessarily like a European best?
I mean, I forgot how I getting approach. I'm not sure. I think by them,
Yeah.
by their manager, I was getting approached, and then I had a few procs with them. I get like so good bond between me and the players was so good, and
Oh, okay.
until this point we're so close. Maybe that's the only one team that I was like before, before NIP right now,
Yeah.
that we was so close and we like each other a lot. And until
Okay.
today, we are so good. We have an amazing relationship, amazing friendship. I played with the boys, with Nexus, with Rio. I keep in touch with Jakob. I keep in touch with Milan, with Niels, with everyone. Like we played a bit more CS2. Even we joke about, we talk about. And I told them like every time you need something, any advice for me, I always gonna be with you. I always gonna be open to give you, because I felt that we get to we get so like good with them. Like the
Yeah.
bond was so good, the connection was perfect. And the main reason was like we need to be a dominant team in the Belgian scene, you know,
Yeah.
in the Benelux scene. I can put it
Yeah.
that way. Because back then they had like Bruges, EC Bruges winning
Mm.
consistently, uh, the Benelux Championship. And then when I joined after 2 or 3 months, few months, we beat them, I think once or twice or three times, I didn't remember. We smash them and we take the Benelux, we take
Yeah.
the Benelux Championship. And I was like, before like something happened, like if you want to, like do something else, first things first, I want to win the Benelux scene, and from that point, then we can see. Then we have some changes from different perspective with the management, but yeah, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
And that's when I left. We kind of a mutual agreement. I left, and yeah.
Okay. And it's interesting. So I have noticed a lot. You've mentioned kind of like good vibes in the team, and is that a really important part for you? If you ever came into a team, would you be like, you know what, the vibes aren't good here. I actually don't even want to be a part of this.
I mean, I'm not gonna be instantly rejecting because of the vibes.
Mm.
I always gonna be like, okay, this thing is so broken. It's not the way how I think it should be. I'm gonna try to fix it. That is the first things first. To build a good vibes in the team, to build a trust between each other, to build a
Yeah.
bridge between each other. I think, in my opinion, that's really good. So people can have the same vision, have the same goals, and move forward. And I think that was set with King.
Yeah.
We need to set those goals, we need to set those friendship, and maybe that's help us. That's why it took so not so much to reach and win the championship, because I had a perfect relationship with Jakob, with the rest, with the IGO. It was like with him, it was for his age, for his young age, he's so good reading the game, and it was so easy to work with him. It was like so open. I told him like, Jakob this round, Jakob that round, this, and it was so easy, like for his age. I was surprised that it's gonna be so easy to work, and maybe that helps. And that's the only thing I'm looking when I join a team, to have a good relationship with the players, because
Yeah.
like imagine you spending so much time with them, and then you have any differences. If it's game related, okay, you can just find the middle ground. But if it's outside the game, something else,
Mm.
and I have a bad attitude or different vibes or different understanding, I'm so open. As a coach, I'm so open. If I see something, I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna save anything, you know, on a good way, on a
Yeah.
constructive criticism, that we need to work on this. And I
Yeah.
think that helps with my few teams. I cannot say maybe from a different teams, different regions, but like previously, I think it helps a lot in specific with Genk, with NIP and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it's really cool you mentioned Rez. I actually used to pug with him in like 2020 when he played on Four Elements. I was they we used to play with like that team a lot. But yeah, it's like a funny little throwback how everything kind of comes full circle. But then so after that you came into to Impact, and that's where I want to make the full brunt of this. And so just looking at what your role is like in the team now, because I feel well, you have been through a lot of the iterations of NIP, and that is something I want to come into. But what would be, yes, your role? Like, are you very hands-on with like the development of these players, and do you feel like all those experiences you've garnered since 2017 allow you to be like so useful in the server?
Yeah, like every single time I go to the team, I always want to have the same vision with the IGO. And
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that was the good part because like when I joined Impact, I think it was like kind of a rebuilding of the team, getting the twins in the
Mm.
team, you know, like they was making some changes, and I think that was a good time for me to join to get to know, to understand the IGL Astra, to see how she see the game, the others, you know, and then we can just micromanaging stuff with her. I'm not that kind of like. You know, to strict coach and be like, no, it should be on this way. I don't like this way. You know, I want to find the balance and see, you know, I'm not that kind of a person to have a dictatorship kind of coach, you know. I
Mm.
want to find the balance. I don't want to, like, we need to find the middle ground, you know, how we want to
Yeah.
play. A bit more loose, a bit more structure. And I think that's work with us because we're gonna find the balance. We have few things that we're working, which is from the kitchen. I don't want to say it before the impact season, you know,
Yeah.
and that's why I want kind of to be a different team than what the other impact teams have as a
Okay.
style. You know, I want us to be a bit more different, a different approach.
Okay, so I know you said you didn't want to, but is there anything you can touch on in regards to like different style, or maybe like identifying what the other impact teams are like and how you maybe want to be a bit different to that?
I mean, I don't want to get too much into
Yeah,
details,
just
but you can,
because.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can see when we're the first match we beat Nigma, then we beat other teams. We kind of wanted to implement a bit more something different than what has happened before. You know, yes, maybe more structure, a bit more, you know, ballsy play,
Okay.
a bit more structure, loose-ish and stuff like that. But like for us, it was working still, and we want to improve a bit more. We want to try something else, some different stuff, you know, before the matches and stuff. We're working on this, you
Mm.
know, and I think, in my opinion, that's how it should be, you know, because like trying to implement something
Yeah.
from the male scene into the female scene, some few stuff here and there, you know, but yeah, maybe some mental part of the approaching the game when it comes down to the officials, you know, some kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And so at the end of last season, you ended up replacing Pauli. Even though that you had like a really good season, sadly you didn't qualify for the finals, but like there was still a lot of success to be taken away from the season. With like obviously you guys are the only team to beat Nigma. I know that gets hammered on time and time again. But what was actually the reason for replacing her? 'Cause I think from a lot of people that was like a ooh unsuspecting change.
I mean, I can say it's not because of the season, it's not
Okay.
because of the matches, but in like I can say it's more like back then she wasn't ready for the team to take it on another level back then.
Okay.
Now I don't know. You know, it takes too much time. She finished the school and stuff like that. It's not maybe it wasn't like too much because of the school, but like there was like, you know, few things that make her not fully ready back then
Yeah.
for the team. It was kind of from half my decision and with the team decision to replace Pauli, to look for the different player. I don't want to get too much into details about what kind of a player she is, but she was a bit more quiet, a bit more, you know, that kind of style.
Mm.
And what I can say is like she just wasn't ready back then for the team, and
Okay.
that's why we managed to replace Paul. There wasn't any bad feelings, anything internal, anything like fights between us. No, no, not
Okay.
related to the results. No, it's just back then she wasn't ready for the what's next for us.
Okay, that makes sense. And then so going into picking up AIM or Mia, firstly, just kind of like, how did you find her? Because even when I spoke to her, she was like, "Whoa, I did not expect to get that offer," because she didn't feel like she had maybe the best of season in season three. And what was the decision to pick her up, even though that the positions she plays now in Impact, sorry, in NIP, are not even actually the ones that she's played before.
I mean, there was so many people on the list.
Okay.
I'm getting contact by also other people, but like we was looking for a specific role myself, like for specific person, you know.
Hmm.
And I was browsing. That was like I was checking a lot of teams, a lot of players, and not only how they play, you know, like the style, of course, but like to see, you know, more of those players from the background and stuff like that. If they have experience with the playing in the team, in the organization, playing on the high level of CS, playing professional, you
Yeah.
know, not just like some player that, yeah, I play a few pucks on Face It. Uh, Maybe I'm ready, I'm level 10, I have so many games, I played with this person and that person, you know. It wasn't my point that I need to decide to pick this player. And I saw from Copenhagen Flames, the female team, that Mia was part of it. And I was like, okay, I need to see. I download few demos of me. I saw that I liked that type of a player she is. And then after that, the like I can always say it's like there is a cake, right? But to make a good cake, the cherry is missing. And when you put on top of the cake the cherry, it's like okay, that's even better because Mia was like so open, you know, like easy people to communicate, easy like a person that talk like they can joke around, they be more communicative, more
Hmm.
active, you know. And I was like, okay, I liked. We get a trio like 1 week ish, or I think maybe 10 days,
Yeah.
and I really like the whole vibes in the team. Like totally, the vibes changed. I was like, okay, maybe we find the right person.
Awesome. And then
And
so sorry, you gonna say?
yeah, and that was like kind of before the like 1 week or during the players break.
Yeah.
And that's why it was my responsibility to let the team, my players, to, you know, relax. If they have someone to discuss, you know, I don't want to get them too much involved in the whole stuff. They can, you know, if they have something, they can just tell me, Anton, check this player, check that player. And then we communicate, we talk between each of us. Okay, what to think about this? We collect the whole feedback that we have. And then I have a talk with this person. We have a talk, and then we have a trio, and we change a bit. We start a trio with like I think 3 or 4 people. We change them every single day. We had a different player to see who is gonna fit our
Okay.
not only style but our vibes, you know, in the team.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So then going from that, you've come into a boot camp. So can you run me through what you'd be doing at a boot camp with this team and what role you serve in these environments and how important is it now that you've got this boot camp where, like as you said, the vibes are very good.
I mean, like it's good. Normally, it's good to, with my experience, to have a bootcamp right if you sign someone, if you sign a
Yeah.
new player. It's always gonna be good, and the timing was perfect. Thanks to Nip to make it happen because like the time is perfect, like 2 days or 3 days left before the start of the season. It's good for us more like not to work too much on the structure, too much on the game, but like to build that kind of connection, that bond, you know, that
Yeah.
facial impression, to see that person for the first time, to see his, you know, like his impression after the prac on the theory, on the talks with our physical, like our guys, our management, you know, like performance coaches and the different people on the management that is working with us, you know. It's good to have all of these things combined before start of the season, you know, to understand your new teammate, you know. I think that's really good. It was like most of this most of the point. Of course, in the meantime, we get a good practice, we get the theories, we get the sessions, we get sessions with our management to talk about this, to talk about the comic season, and I think it's really positive, and it's gonna happen. Like I'm like hoping, because like to have quite often those kind of boot camps to reset, to meet each other, to
Mm.
calm us down again, to rebuild if something happened, to rebuild the bond, to rebuild the connection between us. I think it's really beneficial.
That sounds awesome. And then so because I know like obviously a lot of teams will be boot camping, but there are definitely I'd say the majority that probably won't be boot camping is maybe just under an assumption. Do you feel like the fact that you can get a boot camp actually just separates you so much from the ones that don't?
Yes, I think big. They also get a bootcamp. I'm not sure about Australis. They probably also get a bootcamp. I'm not
They haven't
sure
even
about.
qualified.
Yeah, and I think yeah they didn't, and I think G2. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if G2 makes the boot camp for the for the before the season, and maybe Australia for the qualifier. I'm not sure about them for sure, but for in my opinion, Big and G2 get a boot camp. But it's
Okay.
really good to have be possible to have a chance to have a boot camp actually in our NIP office,
Yeah.
because we have rooms with the PCs where you can be with all of the management close to each other, with the other people with working for NIP. It's so good,
Mm.
to build that family vibes.
Yeah.
That's like I can say that that's the only one and first team that I'm experienced those kind of those types of boot camps, because normally people go to some internet cafes types boot camps, which is only set for teams to boot camp in Serbia or Germany or Malta, you know, those kind of boot camps. But to have a boot camp in your headquarters in
Yeah.
NLP office, it's a totally different vibe. Same with I think G2 have the same, and they can say like it's a totally a different vibe. And I
That's
think it helps a
wow.
lot.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And so looking at this new squad, with Mia joining and obviously with our new player, what type of changes do you feel like we can expect to see from NIP heading into this season with like game style and maybe even like just the maps being played?
I think the biggest plus for us is going to be the firepower,
Okay.
because that's the good thing. Not only that, but our firepower is so big. Like we have people who can perform. For example, the twins, Yannicka, Mia. Not to mention Astra. It's so hard to be a consistent upper and IGL. Like you
Mm.
see from the male scene, Cadian and stuff, but like in the female scene, Astra is doing a lot, with the op and IGL, like making openings, be cocky, be more aggressive with op, finding the openings. And that's what it fits for the NIP DNA, a bit
Yeah.
with a lot of firepower, because nowadays it's not about too much structure. It's about uh, it's about
Okay.
killing people. It's about getting shots. It's about getting your shots. It's about getting your openings. Putting a pressure of the enemy, understanding the basics, default rounds, understanding your teammates, how you're gonna take map control. In my opinion, this is the only thing that a team needs to have a perfect understanding. Not especially on the females on the scene, but also on the male scene. You can see Cadian, they was having the same problem, that
Yeah.
sometimes they didn't understand each other, they didn't understand what is the reason behind this. And that's why
Mm.
they have like those up and downs again, like going back and forth, winning and losing and stuff. And I think that's the thing that we are working
Okay.
now, to have a perfect understanding of the situation, of the map control, of your teammates, next step and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, because you mentioned use the example of when you work with stamina, and then like you like having that connection with the IGL and being on like a similar line. With that very specific like situation you gave with like with Astra right now, and like as you said, like it's just simply just maybe popping heads.
Yeah.
Where do you come in with working with Astra then, as like or like with yeah, like with the team and with the IGL to like with that very specific things?
I mean, Astra is really, how to say it, like strict-ish
Okay.
to the rounds, not like strict of dictatorship, but like to the small details. For example,
Okay.
executes for the structure, for the round, for the game plan, you know. But like we're giving a freedom also to the other people to shine, you
Mm.
know, to express themselves, to show individual performance, and that balance is good. Is that's how, in my opinion, it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of be our DNA for the whole team. That people are allowed, you know. Maybe we can do some
Mm.
mistakes. We can make the review, look at them, make the review, break down the whole the points, see what we can improve, and those kind of stuff. That's why it's like Astra as IGO, she's looking, you know, of those small details, of those executes, and then we can, if we have some like things that we need to fix, we sit down, we talk with the whole team, with me, and we can just be like, okay, maybe this guys, this that, you know. And I think that's one of the good parts that we are working on it,
Okay.
and we are improving on this. And this boot camp is helps a lot, you know, to see person, to see their impression if they uh, did something wrong on the round, something that they shouldn't, and then after that you can just talk with them, see the face impression, see your physically, they see you, you know, like
Mm.
what you want from them, and they say like, okay, yeah, I think that's what we need to work on. It's
Yeah.
good, okay, and stuff like that. And you can just see them if you give them some tasks. Watch this demo, and you can just spectate and be like, okay, yeah, she's looking at this, okay, that's good, and stuff like that, on the homework and stuff.
Okay. And just looking at like the specific season and maybe some of the matchups. So you're obviously in Group A. I guess you're kind of like technically the second seed, maybe behind Nigma. Depends how you want to look at it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But which teams do you feel like? Because it's a pretty stacked group, to be honest. Like which group, and and they all are as well. Like the quality of impact has risen like really drastically. Who do you feel like are maybe going to be some of these like these teams that you're going to be maybe like looking out to, you maybe struggling against, or that you are maybe wanting to play and specifically beat?
For sure, Nigma and Big.
Okay.
That's gonna be our main concern, to see how Big is gonna play, since you probably know, but I think they're playing with Pauli.
Yeah.
I'm uh, I'm not sure what kind of style they're gonna do. You know, what kind of style they're gonna keep doing, because there was like kind of aggressive style, always keep pushing, always making a pressure on the enemy.
Mm.
For us, that's gonna be pretty excited, you know, to see
Okay.
how they're gonna play. Of course, for Nigma, they has to beat us because they has, but like probably they won't, you know. You'll see. But like those teams, in my opinion, they is gonna be our like main concern, main
Mm.
challenge to overcome. I'm not saying that I think Ens female team, they also gonna be in our group, and VP, like I don't know
Yeah.
those guys, you know, like we have balance in the group, but like in my opinion, the biggest challenge, a biggest focus for us at the beginning should be Big and Nigma.
Yeah. And especially on that, like Nigma's literally your first game. Like you play a game on Wednesday. Are you kind of like excited to have this as like a first game, like straight out of the bat, like just nothing else? Like it's just straight like you two, the Titans playing against each other.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like one of those dreams, or like how it says, like that it's like something happens again, right? And now
Yeah.
again we need to play against them. Now again, probably people gonna expect to be like, okay, Nigma won the previous season. What's gonna happen now? Now they play again with NIP first match. Now they have like a different player, because back then it was like with the twins. How
Yeah.
they gonna perform with the twins? Now they have Mia. How they gonna perform against Nigma? Again with the changes in the team. Again, Nigma, they won the previous season. How they gonna approach the game? And I think like us, we is gonna be joining the game so confident. We're gonna join the game really confident when we play against them. Whatever that happens, happens. They also gonna try. as much as possible to win. We also gonna try as much as possible to win, and whatever it happens. Like
Yeah.
only God knows, But we're not gonna give up. That's for sure. Like you're definitely gonna join in this match so prepared and full focus on it.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned like the twins and Mia there. Do you feel like you have this advantage maybe over a team like Nigma Galaxy of you guys are maybe because like the individuals are a little bit fresher, they're improving at a much higher rate than teams like Nigma Galaxy because they have these experienced players that maybe their development won't be as like drastic.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna say that we don't have that kind of stage experience since we play from home,
Yeah.
and people felt on their own way how they should, more relaxed. They're more calm, more chill because they're not on stage. So I cannot compare Nigma just because they have more stage experience with us. Because, for example, Kiara and Naomi, they just won the world title,
Yeah.
with ISF. They won it, the world championship. They just won it on the stage. All of the matches was actually
Mm.
on the stage, on the booths and stuff like that. They have that kind of experience back then, like so fresh experience. Then we had a boot camp to see each other of us, to see all of us, before the season. So I don't think we're gonna have any struggles with those kind of things. Joining the game against Nigma, we're gonna be pretty
Hmm.
confident because every single game against Nigma we joined pretty confident. We didn't feel
Okay.
any stress at all. Like we are not stressing about them. It's not only Nigma, of course, but like people expect like, yeah, Nigma they just won 5 in a row or something. But we don't join, like we don't see like, yeah, they're a champion. What's gonna happen? No. And we showed on the
Okay.
first match. We just joined like super calm, super chill, and like a normal match. Our
Yeah.
approach was super calm and chill.
Yeah. And then just lastly, so what are your general expectations for season 4? And you were talking about like the finals. Not only like bring it up and like kick you going down, but like you didn't make it last season. Does that, if anything, actually give you more motivation now to take season 4? And if anything, be the people who stops the Galaxy from winning again?
I mean, that's the probably that's the like the main goal
Yeah.
to qualify because probably it's gonna be the last CS:GO Impact season.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
So that's also one of the big motivation for all of the teams that is taking part of this for this season. But I think our approach is mostly is gonna be like, yeah, we want to win, we want to qualify for the finals in Spain, but we're gonna make it like step by step, match
Yeah.
by match. We're gonna focus on this match. It's like a football.
Yeah. Yeah.
We focus on this match. When this match is over, we start thinking about the rest. When the match is over, forget about what's happened in the past. We start thinking for the others. So we definitely have a lot of good guys from the management, and we have one more guy that is going to be announced soon with a good knowledge of the CS, a good background, a perfect and big portfolio on his background that is going to help us a lot. Not only like the whole CS part of NIP, us and maybe the main, not maybe, but in the main team and stuff, but is gonna help me and our team, which is like is good before the season to have you know a perfect and really stacked management with people that actually have a good knowledge and those bitten pieces that they can manage to guide us and try to like improve before the season starts.
Okay, well, now that is very interesting. I am very much looking forward to this announcement, and I honestly wish you guys the best. You've obviously got the one of the two UK and Irish players on your roster, so the bias is obviously there for me. I'm wanting to back you guys, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for coming on,
Thank
Anton.
you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. As you said, probably kind of long time in the waiting, but as I said to you before, I feel this is the perfect time to do it. This is amazing. My camera just ran out of battery, and with that, thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I want to thank to all of the NIP management, all of our sponsors to make this happen for the bootcamp, and I want to say to our fans that we're gonna do our best to qualify for the playoffs, and hopefully, whatever it happens after that, only God knows, to be the champions for this season, and yeah, we're gonna try hard for this season.